No one in the Outlander fandom was prepared for the moment Heughan and Caitríona Balfe finally crossed the line they had carefully protected for more than 12 years. It started with a short backstage clip, barely 15 seconds long, that spread like wildfire the moment it hit social media. At first, fans thought it was another harmless behind-the-scenes moment, something sweet but ordinary. But then they noticed the look Sam gave Caitríona, the closeness between them, and the unmistakable shift in their energy. Within minutes, the internet exploded. The moment felt different, dangerously different. Sam and Caitríona had always been close, but they were famously disciplined about keeping a boundary between their personal connection and the public eye. They laughed together, supported each other, and often moved in sync like two halves of the same heartbeat. But they also knew when to step back, when to avoid letting things look too intimate. Except in this video, they didn't step back. They didn't pull away. They didn't even try. The clip showed Sam walking up behind Caitríona during a break at a promotional event. She was tired, rubbing her eyes, clearly exhausted from a long day. Sam reached out, touched her arm gently, and leaned in to whisper something only she could hear. Caitríona froze, not in fear, but in a way that looked emotional, fragile, and real. Then she turned toward him, meeting his eyes with an expression fans had never seen before. It was raw, unfiltered, intimate. That was the moment fans declared the line had been crossed. People replayed the clip hundreds of times, analyzing every frame. Some insisted it looked like a confession, a moment charged with years of unspoken emotion. Others argued it was simply a friend comforting another in a vulnerable moment. But almost everyone agreed this wasn't their usual on-screen chemistry or professional support. It was something deeper, something heavier, something they had both kept hidden. Within hours, hashtags like #Sam and Kate cross the line and #Fandom earthquake dominated global trends. Fans began stitching the clip with older interviews, compiling a decade of moments where Sam and Caitríona's connection looked too strong, too natural, too effortless to be purely platonic. Suddenly, those old clips took on new meaning, every glance, every inside joke, every laugh that lingered a little too long. The fandom could barely keep up with the emotional storm. What made the situation even more shocking was that Sam and Caitríona had repeatedly emphasized the importance of boundaries in the past. They spoke about professionalism, respect, and protecting each other from speculation. They always stopped short of anything that could fuel rumors. But now, it was as if all those boundaries evaporated in a single breath. Experts in body language even weighed in, saying the moment showed a significant emotional shift between them. Entertainment outlets jumped into the frenzy immediately. Articles titled, "Sam Caitríona. The line finally breaks," and "What happened behind that whisper?" flooded the internet. Reporters speculated whether something had changed privately, perhaps a conversation, a revelation, or a moment that brought them closer than ever before. Some suggested this was the culmination of years of silent understanding. Others claimed it marked the beginning of a new chapter entirely. What truly sent shockwaves across the fandom, however, were the comments from people who witnessed the moment in person. One crew member anonymously claimed, "That wasn't an accident. They knew the cameras were around. They just didn't care this time." Another insider revealed that Sam and Caitríona had been especially tense and emotional during the days leading up to the event, as if something important was weighing heavily on both of them. These whispers added fuel to the already raging fire. As speculation reached boiling point, fans noticed something even more striking. After Sam whispered to her, Caitríona's eyes glistened, not with sadness, but with something like relief. She touched his hand briefly, a gesture so small yet so intimate it sent thousands of fans into emotional collapse. For 12 years, they had avoided exactly this kind of moment. For 12 years, they had drawn the line clearly. And now, that line wasn't just blurred, it was gone. Clips continued to surface from different angles, each one offering a new layer. In one view, Sam's expression as he looked at Caitríona appeared unguarded, like a man who had finally stopped pretending. In another, Caitríona seemed to lean into him instinctively, as if she no longer cared who was watching. It was impossible to deny. Something had shifted between them. Something big. The fandom split into two emotional camps. One side was ecstatic, convinced this was the moment they had been waiting for. The other side was terrified, worried about the repercussions, worried about Caitriona's marriage, the show's future, and the media firestorm that was sure to follow. Both sides agreed on one thing: the moment was real. By the end of the day, hundreds of fan edits, reaction videos, and theories flooded the internet. Comment sections were overwhelmed with disbelief, joy, fear, and heartbreak. But the loudest question, the one no one could ignore, was simple and terrifying. What made Sam and Caitríona decide to cross the biggest line they had held for 12 long years? And the world waited breathlessly for the answer. As the clip continued to dominate global headlines, the world demanded answers, not from fans, not from insiders, but from Sam Heughan and Caitríona Balfe themselves. For 12 years, they had mastered the art of drawing clear lines, maintaining boundaries, and balancing their undeniable chemistry with unwavering professionalism. But now, those boundaries were gone, and their silence only made the moment feel even more deliberate. People sensed the weight behind the whisper, behind the touch, behind the look that changed everything. Behind closed doors, insiders said the atmosphere around the Outlander team shifted dramatically. Crew members described Sam and Caitríona as strangely calm, almost as though crossing the line had brought relief rather than panic. They weren't avoiding each other. They weren't stepping apart for damage control. Instead, they stood closer, spoke softly, and shared glances that felt charged with things unsaid. Those who witnessed it said it was like watching two people finally stop pretending. The biggest shock came when an insider revealed the whisper Sam had said in Caitriona's ear. According to them, he murmured, "I'm done hiding." The words hit the fandom like a lightning strike. It wasn't a flirtatious comment. It wasn't a joke. It was a confession, raw, tired, and full of emotion. People replayed the clip with this new context, suddenly understanding why Caitriona's eyes softened, why she touched his hand, why she looked shaken but relieved. But the emotional storm didn't stop there. Another source claimed Caitríona had whispered back, "Me too." Those two words, if true, rewrote the entire narrative of the last 12 years. Fans went into meltdown, theorizing that both actors had reached a breaking point, that maintaining distance had become too painful, too exhausting, too dishonest. It was the closest they had ever come to acknowledging the truth people had sensed for years. The internet erupted into factions again, this time more intense than ever. One side celebrated, insisting this was the start of a new era, the moment Sam and Caitríona finally let themselves be human. The other side panicked, pointing out Caitriona's marriage, the potential backlash, the media frenzy that could threaten their careers. Every angle felt dangerous, every possibility felt monumental. Meanwhile, Tony McGill, inevitably, was dragged into the heart of the storm. Tabloids published speculative headlines suggesting he was distressed, or deeply shaken, by the viral moment. Anonymous sources claimed Tony had been blindsided, unaware that tensions between Caitríona and Sam had escalated to this point. Others argued the moment was misinterpreted entirely. But the damage was done. Tony became an unwilling symbol of the boundaries Sam and Caitríona had just stepped over. Caitriona's response came next, not through a statement, but through her behavior. She was spotted arriving at another event the following day, and instead of avoiding questions or looking defensive, she appeared contemplative, almost peaceful. When a reporter yelled, "Did Sam cross the line?" Caitríona paused, looked directly into the camera, and said, "Sometimes lines don't protect you. Sometimes they cage you." That single sentence detonated the internet all over again. Fans interpreted her words as a quiet admission, a message that the emotional distance she and Sam maintained had become suffocating rather than necessary. Her comment trended globally, with people calling it the most honest thing she's ever said. Analysts replayed the clip, pointing out the sadness in her smile, the resignation in her tone, the acceptance in her eyes. It was the moment fans realized Caitríona wasn't running from the fallout. She was owning it. Sam's turn came a few hours later. He posted a message on X that read, 12 years of holding back. One moment of truth. It was cryptic, vulnerable, and unmistakably tied to the viral clip. Within minutes, the post reached millions, sparking a new wave of emotional outpouring from fans around the world. Some cried, others celebrated, many simply sat in stunned silence, realizing that Sam wasn't denying the moment, he was acknowledging it. Then came the twist no one saw coming. A longtime Outlander crew member revealed that Sam and Caitríona had been struggling privately for months. They had tried to maintain distance to protect each other from rumors, from pressure, from the real-life complications surrounding their lives. But in doing so, they ended up hurting themselves emotionally. The insider said, that moment wasn't them losing control, it was them finally taking it back. Fans were not prepared for how deeply that explanation resonated. The idea that Sam and Caitríona had been silently suffering under the weight of boundaries they never asked for transformed the narrative from scandal to heartbreak. People saw the viral clip not as a forbidden moment, but as an emotional breakthrough, a release of something buried for too long. As the chaos continued, Caitríona posted a single line on Instagram late that night. Sometimes the truth demands to be seen. She didn't elaborate, she didn't reference Sam, but everyone knew exactly what she meant. Sam liked the post within minutes. The fandom collapsed. By the time the dust began to settle, one truth had become clear. Sam and Caitríona didn't just cross a line, they chose to. And now, the world could only wait to see where that choice would lead.